This is a superhuman society, with 80% of us possessing a hoard of bullet journal. Markets swirled with chaos and confusion following the appearances of these journals, and a new profession emerged. We call those who bullet journal heroes. Oh, by the way, this is a video on how I made the world's greatest bullet journal theme. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you guys enjoyed the small little intro I put out for you guys. As you might have guessed, I'm here with my June Plan With Me setup, and the theme of course I'm going for is My Hero Academia. If you don't know what My Hero Academia is, it's an anime that is based on superpowers, and it's a really interesting one. Currently, the 5th season is in running, and since it was back, I decided to make a theme out of it because I've been mildly obsessed with it, and to be honest, the characters are way too pretty. I started out by writing June in a big red rectangular shape. I obviously used the style that My Hero Academia has on its own logo, and I also searched up on how to write June in Japanese and wrote that below in yellow. The colors I've used are quite similar to the actual palette in the whole anime, and I've tried to keep them as similar as I could. I made a rounded rectangular box above where I wrote June, and inside it I placed the calendar and made a pretty sky. I made a few random clouds on the side and then June's calendar right in the center. For the code page, I made a small scene where one of the characters named Aizawa is sitting on top of this post. In the scene, there are some electrical wires, a tree, few buildings, and a lot of clouds. I tried to use colors as similar as possible, and instead of drawing the actual character, I just wrote one of his quotes. The quote I used says, "There is nothing crueler than letting a dream end midway." And I think this quote is so powerful that I just had to include this in my journal. For the calendar page, I used a very squarish font. I've seen a lot of manga covers with this type of font, and I thought it was perfect for the theme. So on this spread, I'm going to be drawing Ochako Uraraka, which is one of the main characters of the show, and she basically has a superpower, or how they call it in the show, a quirk, called zero gravity, where she can touch anything and make it float. So I made 30 big rocks, one for each day, and I also drew Uraraka beside the rocks with her quirk position. Basically, she presses her fingertips together and makes whatever she has touched to stop floating. I also drew some rubble and small rocks around the spread, and right below I made my trackers for YouTube and Instagram, also in rock form. Now moving on to actually drawing Uraraka, I started outlining the sketch which I had done beforehand. Since this theme requires a lot of drawings, I sketched a lot, and I just wanted the sketches to look as close as possible to the actual characters. I of course drew Uraraka in her hero outfit and colored it in with the closest possible pink and grey. I also shaded the rocks around the edges with a brown Prismacolor pencil to give it a more 3D look. For my mood and habits tracker, I had so many ideas and sadly I was unable to execute them. I really wanted to draw a fight scene between any two characters and somehow incorporate my trackers in it as well, but I ended up dividing my spread horizontally into two. On the top I made Shoto Todoroki. He is also in action mode and wearing his hero outfit. Todoroki is one of the coolest characters, quite literally. His quirk is basically half hot, half cold, and he can generate freezing temperatures from his right side and control fires using his left side. For the actual habits, I made ice blocks and I used my stamps to add the dates inside. I didn't realize that my ice blocks were quite small, so the calendars inside don't have a lot of breathing space around them, but at least they're contained, so I think it's okay. I colored in Todoroki according to his hero outfit colors. His character design is also pretty unique. His half red, half white hair color is literally a symbol now. I drew him using his icy side where he has created an ice wall around him. I did have a lot of trouble with skin colors because I only had one marker for skin tones and all of the characters I made today ended up looking a little bit tan. For the eyes around Todoroki, I used a light blue color and later I used a dark blue Prismacolor pencil to draw out ice cracks within the ice blocks and spikes. For the mood section, I decided to draw the very angry Katsugi Bakugo. I decided to draw him for the mood tracker because he's literally such a mood. I drew him in action pose as well, making sure one of his fire gauntlets is blown off, which is why there are so many tiny fireballs in the air, which are the actual mood trackers for the month. I feel like the colors I used for Bakugo matched the best with the actual character design of the show. While I was making the fire, I just used random shapes inside the large fire shape and I moved between yellow, orange and red to create this fire look. These are also the three colors that I'm going to be using this month to track my mood. At the end, for the word mood, I decided to switch up the font and just go with a handwritten feel, and I added a gradient in the word to make it look a little bit more fiery. For the expense tracker, I decided to make the class rep Tenya Ida, quietly but not so quietly judging my expenses. I used the same manga font as a heading for the word expenses, keeping the same layout as always for the expense tracker itself, and right below it I made Ida just standing there going crazy looking at all of my expenses. Ida's superpower is super speed, which has no relation with expenses at all. I just feel like he'd be the friend who would have a fit over my expenses for the month. I quickly started with the coloring process, and for the expense header I used red this time, and a lighter red that I used for the base of the font and the top of the expense tracker box. I colored in Ida in his school uniform because in his hero outfit you can't really see his face, and he's not really in an action pose anyway, so it's just a simple white shirt and a tie, and that's it. For the gratitude list, I followed a very simple list box on the top half of the page, and I made 15 lines on each side so I can write my gratitudes for all 30 days. On the bottom half of the page, I made Izuku Midoriya, also known as Deku, throughout the show, which is also his hero name by the way. Izuku is the main character of the whole anime, and one of the reasons I kept him for a gratitude tracker is because no matter what, the kid is always positive. He's always ready to take on new challenges, and I think we can all learn something from him. I didn't exactly make him in an action pose though. I made him standing after a fight perhaps, with his arms stretching forward, but the electricity is still surging through him. Izuku is born quirkless, but the main story evolves around how he gets a quirk called One for All from his favorite hero, All Might. I did draw him in his hero outfit, which is this green suit with kinda off-white gloves. I feel like I was really unable to find colors matching to Izuku's outfit, but I did try to find the closest possible ones. I made some electricity around him, and I also wrote Gratitude Smash beside him, which is a play on his actual moves, Detroit and Delaware Smash. For the weekly spread, I decided to do something different, and the character I used here was the most relatable character, Shota Aizawa. Aizawa is a professor in the school where all of these characters study, and he loves to sleep, so I decided to make him on either side of the page, sleeping in his little cocoon blanket, and I made sure to line him up on both sides so the line art matches as much as possible. I wouldn't really classify this as a Dutch door spread. I don't really know what to call it. Maybe it's a bookmark, but it's basically Aizawa just sleeping in the middle of my weekly spread. He's usually seen in between of classes taking naps and catching some Z's, and I think that's the most relatable thing. I wish I could do that at work every day. For the actual weekly spreads, I made 6 elongated boxes, one for each weekday and one for the weekend, and below the weekly boxes I added a tasks and a self-care section. I really kept the boxes simple because I did intend to cut out Aizawa and have him as an extra little element in my spread, so I kept the rest of the page quite simple. For the flip side of the page, I quickly made Aizawa again and colored him in. I made sure to match my outermost outline because that is where I would be making the cut. After cutting the top half of the extra page, I now had a sleeping Aizawa on either side of my weekly. And that was pretty much it for this month's journal. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this month's setup. I know this one was very heavy on drawing, but I loved it so much and I'm so glad that I did this. I feel like it's a real break from my other normal spreads that I do since I don't really draw a lot in my journal. For this month, I think my favorite spread is the calendar one with Uraraka, but let me know what your favorite spread is in the comments down below, and while you're there, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe as well. If you happen to recreate the spread, don't forget to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. I recently made a new journaling account on Instagram called panda.journaling, so if you guys are fellow bullet journal enthusiasts, give me a follow and let's be friends. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please take very good care of yourselves and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!